All I say is this: relax. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You don't freak out after the Falcons win, and you surely don't freak out after the 49ers loss.
Dan. And back here on the post game show across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Thank you so much for checking in with us live here tonight. Dan Sileo from the National Football Show, kind enough to join us here on a Sunday night where the Eagle fan base showed up expecting to somehow get out of this game with a W. I think, Dan Sileo, this team was in a position to win the game, should have won the game. You play defense in your career. When your defense holds an offense to only 17 points, the expectation is that your offense is going to score enough to do it. They didn't. What were some of your overall observations of how this game played out, resulting in a loss, of course, for the Eagles?
Joe, first off, man, thanks for having me on here, man. I want to thank you again and everybody there at the JAKIB Media channel for having me. You guys are spectacular, the Big Sills. And let me throw this at you here. Don't freak out. Jesus criminy, everybody's good in this league. If I were Eagle fans, I would sit back and go, how many rosters are you going to play like that in the NFL this year? 2? I mean, the 49ers, as I said on Friday, would probably come into Lincoln Financial and win this ball game because they're deeper and they're better. Their issues a year ago were at the quarterback spot. The Eagles last year, going 4-11-1, had roster issues everywhere down the line. We came out of that game against the Falcons, and after, I'll tell you what, I got more out of what the Eagles did against the 49ers and what the Falcons did today early on, all the way into the mid part of the third quarter versus the world champion Buccaneers. They hung in that game. It was 28-25, and I'm telling you, don't freak out. You played against a very good team. I tell my daughter this all the time, Joe. She plays D1 rugby in Arizona, and I say, you know what? Expect the other team to be good too and make plays. The 49ers made plays, and as the game went on, there was something that was very evident. The offensive line and the defensive line of the 49ers started to take control of the game. Nick Bosa won against Jordan Mailata. Case closed. That's okay. He'll learn from it. He wasn't dominated. He won on him. You're going to see this matchup for the next 10, 15 years in the NFC, going back and forth where Mailata's going to win. Then you're going to have Bosa win. I've said this before about Garoppolo. Garoppolo's 25-8 as a starting quarterback now in San Francisco after the win today at Lincoln Financial. This guy's won an NFC championship game. If I'm an Eagle guy and I look at that game, there were 10 points at least on the field that they left. Don't freak out. You got the Cowboys on the flip side. Now you have a divisional game, which is worth 1.5, usually when you're playing against a division opponent. All I say is this: relax. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You don't freak out after the Falcons win, and you surely don't freak out after the 49ers loss.
Dan, it's a good thought. It's one thing to be able to learn from the mistakes that you make, and I'm curious to your thoughts about head coach Nick Sirianni. I think he's going to take the collar on this one.
Oh, yes.
When it comes to some of his play calling, which I don't want to sit here and criticize Nick Sirianni. I just thought it was, and I'm not an expert to do so, by the way, but it was erratic. There were some weird times that they took some deep shots. They didn't get the football into the end zone. Had that strange call on 4th and 3, where John McMullen, who was just on the post game show, and he talked about it earlier with Derek Gunn as well, that Nick was more calling for the fans than he was for getting that football in the end zone, and probably just made a bad decision in that particular spot. But that happened to be when the momentum changed and the air went out of the link for a moment.
I say the link went, silent a little bit when the Eagles were in the red zone. I mean, they had red zone issues all day long. They did very well between 20s, 20 to 20. Hey, and by the way, are we shocked that Kyle Shanahan outcoached the first-year coach and Nick Sirianni? Are we stunned about that? I'm not. You're talking Kyle Shanahan, one of the better play callers in the NFL, a guy with a ton of experience. He suffered that massive loss against Brady and the Patriots a few years ago in the Super Bowl. This guy is a brilliant play caller. Now, were there too many chunk plays? Absolutely. I mean, really, they rolled him a lot. I'm talking Jalen Hurts did, Sirianni and the offensive coaches. They rolled him right a lot, but then it became predictable, Joe. I mean, when you're using a kid like that and you're rolling him right, how about this? How many times did the snap count? Also, here was a telling factor in that game. How many times did Nick Bosa get off the football against Jordan Mailata, and he was on the backfield, and Mailata was pointing like he was offsides, and he wasn't offsides? Son, you got to do better on the snap count. You've got to throw that defensive line off and slow them down. As a quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time that I played against was John Elway at doing that. 10, 15, 25 yards per football game he would get just on snap count and illegal procedure penalties. He hurt the offensive tackle doing that. So, again, Joe, outcoached, yes. Too many chunk plays, yes. They were getting too greedy after they fell behind, absolutely. And here's the most significant point. There's two issues that still plague the Eagles right now, okay? Red zone offense, and they don't have a solidified running back. You can't take time of possession off the football if you're going by committee once again. You've got to be running back running the football, and you've got a brand new quarterback that you're trying to break in along with a brand new play caller. I think we need to hang in there a little bit here as this team continues to develop, because this is still in the infant stages of what this thing's going to look like by the end of the year. I mean, look, 1-1 going into Dallas. I don't know, man. I'm not down on the Eagles after this loss here. Hey, were there mistakes on the sidelines? Yes. Did the defense give up too many plays? And then the play late in the ball game, too, when Garoppolo found the receiver going into the end zone? Absolutely. Guys were squeezing up to the line of scrimmage. It happens, folks. Good teams get beat. And I think the Eagles have played really well the last 2 weeks. I'm good with them, Joe.
Dan Sileo, the National Football Show, joining us here on the post-game show. Of course, Dan Sileo is live across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. By the way, tomorrow, Monday, the day after, Dan Sileo will have Gary Cobb, who will join him, and they'll break down more of this football game. A lot of times, after you get through Sunday night and you wake up on Monday, you have an opportunity, Dan, as you know, to take a look at how everything played out and how to evaluate more, of the game. One other thing I want to ask you about from a defensive standpoint, because you have so much great knowledge about the game. Devontae Smith came into this game, and I think John McMullen said he was targeted maybe 7 times, had 2 catches, but he didn't do a lot. And I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know how they defended him. I don't know why he wasn't involved in the offense more than he was today. What'd you make of it?
Here's the deal with him, as he's a young player, and they're trying to find a place, Joe, for him in the offense here, because, listen, he can't line up in a Y and Z and get off the line of scrimmage yet because he's inexperienced on dealing with the press coverages still. So what you do is you move him around on the line of scrimmage in the slot position, maybe off the tackle a little bit. And what they're trying to do is find a place for him, just like they did in Alabama for him, is to find open space for him. Look, those screens and, throwing to the sideline to him when he makes that step forward and step back, and then he gets the ball in his hand. He's electric when he gets the ball in her hands. I still think they're trying to figure out how to utilize him. It's like the stuff going on in Cleveland right now with Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, when Beckham comes back, how do you implement a guy like that into your offense? The Cleveland Browns are a better football team without him. However, there's going to be explosion plays that at least 6 or 7 times this year that Cleveland's going to be able to go over the top plus 25 and being able to use Odell Beckham. That's what Devontae is. Devontae's if I get 2 targets or 5 catches or 2 catches in a game and I win the ball game, I don't care. If I lose the ball game, I'm still looking at how they're trying to implement him into the offense. Last week, 6 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown because the secondary was not playing well. against the Eagles. The Eagles were doing well because Hurts was stressing on the corners and getting on the corner of the defense, and he was able to break down the defense. This week, as I said on Friday on my show, that the one thing that the Eagles had to do was stress the 49ers corners. And I don't mean the cornerbacks. I mean at the corner of the defensive line in the front seven. They were not able to get outside of contain, and it Hurts. It kept them in a box, Joe, and you limited them also on possessions when you do that because you're able to run the ball on the other side with their offensive line. The key in this game came down to this. The 49ers dominate. The 49ers, how about this? They didn't dominate. I'll take that back. They took control of the game from the third quarter on when it came to both lines. O-line and D-line, they took control. And when you're starting to pressure the quarterback like they were on Hurts and he's moving around in the pocket, no matter where you line Devontae Smith up, he's not going to be in the vision of the quarterback because the quarterback is running for his life. And they kept him in the box. They kept him contained. And I really thought that the 49ers, as the game went on, they outcoached the Eagles in that football game today.
Last thing from Dan Sileo of the National Football Show, joining us here on the post game show, all presented by Stateside Vodka. Go to statesidevodka.com. Use the key phrase JAKIB. Pick up 15% off of a 1 liter bottle of Stateside. Again, go to statesidevodka.com. Dan, if you played on the defensive side of the football for the Eagles today, I would think that you would still feel pretty good about only allowing 17 points. And then I take it one step further and ask you if the expectation is there from the defensive guys that, hey, we should win the game. We hold this offense to 17 points. We should get a W here.
Are you saying they'll be trash talking in the team meetings on Monday,
I don't
Joe?
know. Does that happen or not?
I'm saying.
I mean, does that happen, Danny, or what?
Oh, yeah. We'll walk into a team meeting on Monday and go, hey, you know what, guys? You can pick your check. You can pick your checks up at the front desk. We got ours just handed out from our coaches. Okay, our coaches handed our checks out. The secretary's out front handing your checks out. And by the way, when Jesse James robbed the bank, he used a gun. Just letting you know. So, yeah, there's that kind of trash talking that goes on. I mean, but here, Joe, at the end of the day, you guys are in the rowboat together. You're rowing in the same direction. And you're right. Usually what you look at as a team, you want to hold the team under 250 yards in total offense and 19 points. Okay? And the Eagles were kind of around that number. So you come out of that as a defensive front. I thought Fletcher Cox really played another great game 2 days in a row. Did they give up some crucial third down plays? Yes. Did they see some of the deficiencies in the secondary that we thought going into the year that may hamper this team? Yes. However, at the end of the day, dude, you come to me and you go, well, you know, in an NFL game where all the rules are set up for them, I gave up 17 points. I'm going to go to sleep tonight, put my head on my pillow, feeling pretty good about my effort. Remember, it's about scoreboard. It's not about the stat sheet. And everybody looks, and you know what they do? What happens, Joe? People start to criticize the process instead of the results. You held the football team to 17 points. This isn't college football. You know, you don't get, beauty pageant points like you do in college football for showing up and holding a team to 17 points in the NFL. Like I said, okay, so 17. Here's the Eagles in the first two games. 6 points and 17. I'm feeling pretty good going into Dallas if I'm the Eagle defense.
Dan Sileo from the National Football Show joining us tonight here on the post game show on a Sunday night. Danny, thank you, brother. We'll see you tomorrow. Gary Cobb. What time's Gary on tomorrow?
5:30 Eastern time. We'll talk to Fox 29's own Gary Cobb and get his thoughts on what he saw standing there at the link. And by the way, Joe, in closing, that place was rocking, man. I mean, I was watching that game, and that place was rocking, man. I thought it was so cool to see Eagle fans out there and seeing all the jerseys. I saw Jerome Brown jersey sightings. I was all stoked for that. I mean, it was really great today, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, good stuff, Dan Sileo. My phone's been blowing up a little bit, and so is my Twitter. And I'm not very active on Twitter, but there's a demand for the Dan Sileo jersey. So I might have to buy 50 of them, Dan. and start giving them out to all of our subscribers and all of our viewers who watch the National Football Show. I love it. You know what, Dan? I'm not a guy that is a collector of jerseys, but I do like a few. I've got Jalen back here. Now, that's Sanders, but I wouldn't mind myself, if I don't give it away, of having a Dan Sileo jersey. Great stuff tonight, brother. Appreciate
Hey, dude,
it.
I love you, Joe. I love everybody. I love Xander and you guys so much, man. Don't forget tomorrow, 4 to 6 Eastern time, right here on the JAKIB Media channel, the National Football League, the National Football Show about the National Football League and some college football this past weekend. Joe, thank you so much, brother.
All right, good stuff from Dan Sileo joining us here on the Post Game Show.